Welcome back. The clash between Apple and the FBI heating up as Apple CEO Tim Cook says that creating a backdoor to its technology would set a dangerous precedent. Joining us now is the former CEO of Qwest Communications and the former chairman, Joe Nacchio, joining us. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you. You had a similar conflict with the government, and you went to jail because you did not want the government putting pipes underneath the land to snoop on users' phone calls. Tell us what happened.
Well, my situation goes back to February 2001, where I refused a request from one of the intelligence agencies that we believed was illegal at the time, and still is, and there were severe consequences for not cooperating, including a prosecution they brought against me. And as you said, I served some time as a result of it. I think today's situation is very different. You have a legal request from the United States. Whether we like it or not, it's legal. You have a judge ordering them to do it. And I think the government will ultimately prevail on this issue.
So you think they're going to prevail? Why?
Well, I think, look, if you look at the history of, first of all, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy on both sides of this issue to go around. But if you look at the way courts have ruled historically when it comes to the government claiming a national security issue, the Fourth Amendment has been watered down, and the government usually wins. In this case, you actually have a terrorist and criminal action. I think this is the absolute wrong case to try to argue the privacy one on in terms of public opinion and probably the opinion of the courts. I give Apple a lot of credit for being principled. I think it will ultimately turn out to be a losing case. And I fear that, as in my case, there will be retaliation at some point by the government. I mean, for us to believe the government is pure white on all these issues would be somewhat Pollyanna-ish. But in this case, there's a clear issue that, you know, Apple, if I was the CEO, I would have complied and helped them get into that phone and then fought the issue on the larger issue of privacy, you know, in a public domain. But it's a complex issue, lots of stakeholders, nobody's pure on this. And, you know, to a certain degree, the government has had a backdoor key into software since software was developed.
Right.
And Apple, Google, and all the others have always cooperated with the intelligence agencies. And, Maria, to be perfectly frank, while the FBI may not have access, I would be shocked today if NSA, CIA, and others don't already have access into these phones, despite what Tim Cook says.
So that's really interesting. So you think they can get the information if they want it anyway. How much of this then do you think this is like a PR, you know, program for Tim Cook to make sure his customers think, okay, look, you know, the CEO of Apple's protecting my stuff?
Well, you know, I think you're right on the point. I mean, I don't want to question Tim Cook's real motivation. I don't know him, and I'm assuming he's an honest, honorable guy. But this is clearly a PR ploy. I mean, I'm sure the Apple lawyers know they're going to lose this one.
Yeah.
And I think it was done to give the customers a sense that Apple's trying to hold the line. But at the end of the day, national security will trump private corporations. And let's remember, despite being principled here, which I applaud, corporations have to follow the laws of the land they operate in, whether it's here, Germany, China, et cetera. So being a multinational provides a lot of challenges for these CEOs, but at the end of the day, they're going to comply.
Yeah. You mentioned retaliation. I just want to point out that in terms of your case, you weren't sent to jail for that reason. So you think it was a retaliation later? Well,
Maria, that's what your later guest, John Ashcroft, would argue. But Ashcroft was the Attorney General at the time, and the Director of the FBI was an Assistant Attorney General at the time, and they knew that our intelligence agencies were involved in illegal activities. And this is part of the problem. See, this is part of the problem. It isn't symmetrical. The government has sovereign immunity. When they break the laws, when government officials break the laws, there's no way to enforce it. When a private citizen gets caught or accused of breaking the law, the full weight of the federal government comes down on you.
You make a great point. I'm going to ask John Ashcroft about that coming up, Joe. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Maria.
Joe Nacchio. We'll be right back.
Thank you.